In this video, I'm going to share a self-publisher that has a series of 12 children's picture books that is making a few $1,000s every single month. And while this might seem fairly average and not a lot for 12 books, make sure to keep watching to see what this deep dive uncovers about these books, and the income made from them might not seem average after all. Hi, I'm Caroline. If you have stumbled across my channel, welcome. I share videos every single week all about self-publishing books, and you're watching one of them right now, so thank you so much for taking the time to join me here. Today, we are going to be looking at a relatively average self-publisher and their brand of books. And by average, I mean that these books are not bestsellers by any means. They aren't in the top 100 or the top 1,000 of books on Amazon. They aren't selling tens of thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of copies every month. They are just those average books that we see sitting between the best-selling books on Amazon and the books that sell nothing at all. And there are a lot of these types of average books on Amazon, but I know that quite a lot of my videos share books and brands that do make crazy amounts of money every month, and they are some of the best-selling books on Amazon. But getting that type of status, those books in the top 1,000 or the top 100 of Amazon, that's pretty hard. And I think it is really helpful and beneficial to look at books that do just all right. It's a different kind of strategy to publishing a book and working to get it to be one of the best-selling books on Amazon, making thousands upon thousands of dollars. This strategy is making a series of books that do pretty good. They sell consistently each month, and while you would love it if one of them did take off and did start selling crazy amounts, that's not your focus, and they still will give you a really good, consistent, full-time income each month. The books that I want to share with you today, this series that I'm sharing, they are self-published, they are children's picture books, and they are written and illustrated by the same person. And this series is these fart dictionaries and toot along stories. Books all about farting. If there is two things that Amazon's customers love, number one is books with swearing. They love a good swearing coloring book or a swearing activity book. But the second thing Amazon's customers love is books about farts. Let's have a quick look through this series. There are 12 books in this series. The first one starting with Freddy the Farting Snowman, published in 2020. Then we have Harvey the Heart Had Too Many Farts. We've got Larry the Farting Leprechaun, Gary the Goose and His Gas on the Loose, Dad and Me Setting Farts Free. If you have seen any of my previous videos, I did have this one in a video talking about Father's Day books, so that might look familiar to you. We have Monster Farts, Turkey Toots, Princesses Don't Fart, They Fluff, Mum Fart Mystery, Birthday Farts, Santa's Fart Factory, and Team Toots A Pickleball Fart Story. Now, if we take a look at each of these individually, we'll have a quick look through and just have a look at some of the details of this. So it's an 8.5 by 8.5, which is usually the standard size for a children's picture book when you are self-publishing through Amazon KDP. 34 pages aimed at around aged 4 to 8. Most of these books in this series are $11.88. A couple of them are $11.95, but most are $11.88. And we've got some nice A+ content down here, just showing the other books in the series, encouraging customers to collect them all. So if they love one funny little children's book about farting, they may like other ones. And she's made use of the A+ content, which links to other books that she has in her series. The next book we have is Harvey the Heart Had Too Many Farts, published 2020. Let's see if we can see inside of this book. I did try to look inside some of them, but it's very limited and I couldn't see much of the story at all. So this one's showing us a little bit. Fairly simple in terms of the illustrations and the font that she's using. She's just used a pretty plain serif font. And as I mentioned a little earlier, that the author of these books is also the illustrator. And so while these illustrations, they're nice, they're not super elaborate, they're not super detailed, they're not super intricate, they're not something that it looks like you do have to have a very high quality professional illustrator do for you. If you did want to illustrate your own book and you're worried about maybe not being as skilled as a professional illustrator, hopefully this might show you that they don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be very intricate. A lot of people could draw something similar to this and it would fit perfectly fine into a children's picture book. The next one we have is Larry the Farting Leprechaun. This one's targeting St. Patrick's Day. And it's interesting to note as well, going back to the A+ content, she's not using the A+ content to showcase that specific book, but just to sort of showcase the series as a whole. So you don't really see any details into the inside of the book in the A+ content. The only place you can really see it is if there is something shown within the look inside feature. And so we can see a little bit into this one as well. And this one seems to show quite a lot of the inside of the book, nearly all of it. And one last one we'll have a quick look at. I won't go through every single one because 12 books will take a little while to go through, but we've got Gary the Goose and his Gas on the Loose. And this one is an Easter basket gift for boys and girls. And if we take a very quick look inside of this one, that one, we're not going to see anything inside of it. It's not showing any of the pages. But let's just go back. We'll take a look at some of the bestseller ranks because, like I said at the beginning of the video, none of these books are bestsellers. None of them are in the top 100, the top 1,000, even the top 10,000 of all books on Amazon. So the first one here, Freddy the Farting Snowman's currently sitting with a bestseller rank of 28,447. A bestseller rank is basically a number given to every book in the Amazon marketplace to determine its popularity with Amazon's customers. So every book out of the millions of books on Amazon is ranked from 1 to however many books there are. And the lower the number, the better. The closer to 1 that you are, number 1 being the top best-selling book across all of Amazon, the more that you are selling. So ideally you want to get that number as low as possible, but of course there are only certain things that you can control in trying to get your book to sell more. But a bestseller rank is a really good, useful number to be able to determine whether a niche is selling well or whether a specific type of book is selling well. So if we use the bestseller rank, we can determine how popular that book is and how many books are selling. Now, the next book we looked at was Harvey the Heart Had Too Many Farts. That one's currently got a bestseller rank of 20,952. Larry the Farting Leprechaun, 74,027. And I did go through all 12 of these books and noted down the bestseller rank currently for each of them. And this is what we ended up with. So out of the 12 books, I've got all the bestseller ranks. And now I took those bestseller ranks and I popped them for each of the 12 books into a book sales calculator, and this is going to help us determine or estimate how many books could be selling each month based on the BSR. So after doing this for each of those 12 books, collectively they are selling around 1,000 books per month. So pretty good when you add them all up like that. Next up, we can use these estimated sales figures to work out how much these books could be making each month. All the books are very similar in terms of page count and how much they're selling for. They are all 8.5 by 8.5 in size. These things all affect how much royalty that you will get at the end of a sale. Some of the books are 35 pages long, some are 29 pages long, but either way, this page difference is so minimal, it doesn't affect the royalty, and most of these books are selling for $11.88. So the royalty that each of these books are making is $2.93 per book sold. Now, the royalty is what the self-publisher actually receives and what they get in their bank at the end of the month. So if we take that $2.93 royalty, times it by the 991 books sold per month, and that equals $2,903 per month. So this is a pretty decent income, and it's a really good example of what happens when things compound. You consistently publish books in your series, and although they are not selling like crazy, they still bring in a pretty nice income when you add it all up from each of their books. But I really don't think that this is actually telling the true story of the actual success of these books and how much this publisher is making. Did you notice any themes when we were looking at these books earlier in the video? Now, this is something that I have talked about in a couple of my recent videos. This publisher publishes books within her series that are focused on holidays and special events throughout the year. So let's go back and have a look. We've got Harvey the Heart Had Too Many Farts, aimed at Valentine's Day. Larry the Farting Leprechaun, aimed at St. Patrick's Day. Gary the Goose and His Gas on the Loose is targeting Easter. We've got Dad and Me setting farts free, aimed at Father's Day. We've got Monster Farts, aimed at Halloween. Turkey Toots Save the Day, aimed at Thanksgiving. We've got Mum Fart Mystery, aimed at Mother's Day. And we've got Santa's Fart Factory, aimed at Christmas. While in between these events and these holidays are happening, these books are making a nice steady few $1,000s per month. But what happens when these holidays come along? Let's have a look. I have this free Helium 10 extension installed, which shows us the history of sales and the history of bestseller rank of the book. And I like to use this to look at the all-time history of a book to see what has happened over the lifetime of that book in terms of sales. Now, this is Harvey the Heart, aimed at Valentine's Day. And I think pretty much without me even showing you on the graph, you can already see what happens. So down here in January, we can see sales start to drop right down to extremely low bestseller ranks, right down under 10. Once Valentine's Day has passed, it just ticks along nicely like it is now. Again, February comes along, Valentine's Day, it drops very low again, and we can see the trend. Every year at Valentine's Day, this book explodes and starts selling ridiculous amounts. Larry the Leprechaun, which we just had for St. Patrick's Day in March, straight away you can see the trend again. March, the bestseller rank drops extremely low year after year. We've got Monster Farts, which are for Halloween. Straight away we can see what's going on around September, October, just in the lead up to Halloween. We've got Gary the Goose, which is aimed at Easter, one that is currently just been low due to Easter, and you can see it's back on that upward trend now that Easter has passed. We can see every year in the lead up to Easter, that bestseller rank starts to drop right down until Easter finishes and it goes back up. What does this do income wise? Well, let's go back to Harvey the Heart Has Too Many Farts. And when we look at this, it spends a few weeks to a month with a bestseller rank around 10. With a bestseller rank like this, the book would sell approximately 32,000 copies in that month. You do the math on 32,000 copies of a book sold with a $2.93 royalty. And even let's say if on average throughout that month, the bestseller rank prior to Valentine's Day was only 100 overall for the month, that means it would still be estimated to be selling over 9,000 copies per month, which in terms of a royalty is over $25,000 for that month. These books get incredibly popular and they provide huge boosts of income to the self-publisher right as these events are about to happen throughout the year. So what can we take from this self-publisher? What are they doing to build popularity in these books? How has she marketed and promoted the books? What tips can we take from her strategies that we can use for our own self-publishing business? One, she picked a theme that is very popular with Amazon's customers, farting, and she carried this through every book in the series. With children's picture books, there's two ways that you can go. You can create a book that is very emotional, it teaches a moral or some sort of life lesson to the child, or you can go with something pretty funny that's not really about anything. It's not going to teach the child much really in terms of life lessons, but it's just really good fun entertainment. And that's what this self-publisher did. And so instead of taking a character or a set of characters and carry those characters through a series of books, she chose a specific theme instead. Now, she has also consistently published books each year and she is continuously adding to this series. When we look through her books, she started publishing this series in 2020 and it seems like she publishes a couple of books each year, although in 2021 she published quite a few, only one in 2022, but she is consistently adding books to this series. She has also taken advantage of the popularity of holidays and special events to create those spikes of income at several times throughout the year. So there's 3 strategies so far that she's used. And these are all very simple strategies that any one of us can implement into your books, into your series, into your self-publishing business regardless of the types of books that you actually publish or that you want to publish. Now, what types of marketing does she do? I did do a Google search for this self-publisher and there was an Instagram account, but it does not look active. And aside from that, I couldn't see any website or any other social media for the books or for the brand. Is she running Amazon ads? Pretty much every book or every series and publisher that I look at and share in my videos that are doing well run Amazon ads. But I couldn't find any Amazon ads for these books, for this series, no matter how hard I searched for them. There is the possibility that this self-publisher only starts running ads in the lead up to an event or in the lead up to a holiday, and she has a book that she wants to promote for that specific event. Or maybe she just has her books so well established now that she doesn't need to run ads for the holidays. They automatically just pick up again when that event or holiday comes. And then she's happy just to have them ticking along slowly in the months in between. So this is a really interesting brand series of books to look at because it seems like it's a case of a self-publisher focusing just on creating and publishing books more so than the actual promotion or the advertising and marketing of them, and most likely doing a little bit of advertising to push the books that are targeting holidays and events when those times of the year roll around. I hope that you've enjoyed looking at this brand, at this self-publisher, and at this series of books. I definitely did. I really love the strategies that they've used, and I hope that you've been able to pick up something that you can use in your own self-publishing business, or that it has inspired you to start creating your own special series of children's picture books, or whatever type of book it is that you would love to publish. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.